So one might still ask, what do you mean, Rabbi Coren? The only thing that a person could find happiness and joy is through the study of Torah, through the study of learning, connected learning. And when we speak, by the way, about learning, it's what I once heard also from Rabbi Daniel, he said from the Vilna Gaon. Learning means after you learn and studied Gemara for 3 hours, that's when you start learning. What does that mean? We've lost the art. In some places, thank God, they have such already a concept. There's an incredible organization called Harivna, which is teaching kids how to chazer and review and be in a Gemara for 2-3 hours. That's where the joy begins. It's something, like I said, Torah is beyond this world. It doesn't follow the regular rules of this world, but it's true. One should ask, what do you mean? There's plenty of things that make us happy and make us feel fulfilled and make us feel connected to the ultimate, to the infinite, and that reminded me of the most incredible, perhaps, class I ever heard in my life, and it's time to review this class. It's something that I heard 13 years ago from Rav Noach, and I remember him telling me, you have to teach us to the from world, and they're going to teach us to the non-from world. And now I realize that this is the reason why he taught it to me to teach to the non-from world, to the from world. It's not just because they need to teach it to the non-from world. It's because we all need to review the basics. It's the most basic class, and it's the most profound class, and it's called the class of the 5 levels of pleasure. Because of course it's true. There are ways of a person to connect to the infinite, not just by study. There's what's called the 5 levels of pleasure. And we're going to review this class because it's something so deep and so basic, and I think it goes back to what we were discussing. This is the greatest challenge of all generations, and especially perhaps this generation. It begins, of course, with the understanding of what we are all wired with, meaning what are we all looking for? So as we pointed out, we're all looking for pleasure, and it sounds a little bit negative. Come on, we're all looking for pleasure. I was once giving this class years ago. I used to go to the Hillel in RCC. I was giving this class, and it was to a non-from crowd mainly, non-affiliated, non-connected to Judaism people and attending. And there was a young lady that raised her hand and said, "Rabbi, that's terrible." It's terrible. That's so selfish. That's it. You're here in this world in order to get pleasure. And that was really the introduction to being able to understand what that means, that we're here in this world for pleasure, meaning the Rebbeinu Shem wired us for pleasure because the Rebbeinu Shem created us with the purpose of getting pleasure, because that's what he wanted to give us. Elamai, our goal is to not live in the lowest level of pleasure. Our goal is to climb and be able to search and reach the highest level of pleasure. So, for example, when we do something positive, we do something good, and we feel amazing. We did a chesed, we did a kindness, we raised money, we helped someone out of a trouble. We went to visit someone that was sick. We went out of our way to be menachem over. We went out of our way to help a child feel much better about themselves. Whatever the story is, that's part of connecting to the infinite. Why? Because that's also pleasure. It's called the pleasure of the 3rd level of pleasure. The pleasure of meaning, the pleasure of doing the right thing. You know, the things even in the physical that we do, we also feel elevated. Why? Because it is somehow touching and tapping onto something beyond this world. And that's what this class is all about. And Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to go into it, because this, I think, is the key. It's what's facing the Jewish people. It's facing the Jewish people all generations, but especially now, as we said, that this is the source. And if we could get over this, maybe now this is the time. All the riots are going on in Iran. Imagine 6 weeks before Purim, Iran was, of course, Shushan, and the riots, the Ma'apecha that's happening. Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to discuss this more. Hatzlacha, Rabbi.